Online Gigs version 4 automates the booking and promotional process for bands, booking agents, record companies, and music managers. Online Gigs does it all for you, from finding the right venue to automatically reminding your fans about upcoming performances right on their cell phones. Get a free Online Gigs 1-month subscription gift certificate, a $20 value, during New York and Los Angeles Music Talk sessions, or visit their website at www.onlinegigs.com.
So let me ask you, with all the technology that's out there, all the software that's out there, I use Logic, there's Pro Tools, Nuendo, all of this stuff going on out there. Is it advisable to have artists, musicians, songwriters, in their bedrooms trying to master? Is that something that you think, should or should not be done, or how do you feel about that?
Well, there's a couple of ways of looking at it. You can go out and buy all the gear you need. You can buy scalpels and sutures and clamps and all that from a hospital supply house. but do you really want to start performing operations?
No.
I do bring something of value to the table.
Right.
And I think while it is possible for somebody to work out and do their own mastering, it takes a lot of time and a lot of trial and error. And it's something you really don't want to mess with. I mean, most people don't want to mess with it. I think my services are very cost efficient, and it's very cheap insurance. It's taking it to somebody who's going to be able to say, this is going to work, or maybe we should rethink this, or I can offer you options in terms of how to treat it.
I agree, and the other part of it is that, is that as an independent artist, you're already out there doing your own marketing. You're already out there booking your tours. You're already in the studios, writing your songs, recording your music. This is one part of the process that, like you said, is a time-consuming process. And all of us, most artists that I know, including myself, don't have the skills of mastering. I've done it, I've tweaked it on myself, and I've gotten decent results, but still, compared to what I know you get and what I know other mastering houses get, it's just something that I think personally, you can go ahead and give it a shot, but with everything else that's on your plate, with all other things that you're doing, why add something else?
And there's also a time factor involved. I can probably do a complete mastering job within an 8 or 10 hour session for a full-length CD. Mm-hmm. And basically, when we walk out of there at the end of the day, it's going to be finished and it's going to be ready to go. If you want to, tweak it yourself and mess around with it and try various approaches to mastering and listen to them on various systems and all that, it's going to take you a lot more time. And usually it invariably seems to me that when people get to the stage of mastering, they're behind schedule, everything is in a rush. Right. They got a CD release party that they want to book, or a tour that's coming up, and the CD has to be ready.
Right. And
so besides the quality issue, there's also a time issue that I can help with.
I definitely agree with that. How do you view mastering? Do you view mastering as an art or a science?
Yes. It's a combination of both. There's the creative side of it, which involves getting the sounds, making sure that the CD flows as a complete project from beginning to end so that it's enjoyable to listen to for a full-length CD. And then there's the technical aspect of it, which is the science part, which is making the master, making sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and the spacing is correct between the tracks, and the levels are good, and you're at a competitive level so that if you put your disc on a CD changer, it's going to sound as good as regular commercial product that's out there, because you're competing with everybody else out there in the market.
Yeah.
And So you have to make sure that everything is right, and you have to make sure that your master is acceptable for replication plants so that they can go ahead and run off as many copies as you feel you need.
And with that in mind, what do you think when you're leaving the recording studio, your songs are all mixed. They're in the process now of taking the song from the recording studio to you for mastering. What should they be doing? How should they prep that mastered mix before they give it to you? What 3 steps? What can they do to make sure that it's going to get to you, and you're going to be able to read everything, and it's going to make sense when it gets to you? What should they be doing in the recording studio before they get to you?
Well, there's a bunch of things that people can do, and most of them are real easy. It just comes down to doing them. Document what you're doing. Make sure that you've got listings of sample rates, of bit rates, of take numbers, and variations in the take. You might want one with a vocal up, might want one with a guitar lead up in a given place, that kind of thing. And write down exactly what you've got. You should also mess around with sequencing a little bit, because there's an infinite number of ways to sequence the tracks in a full-length CD. See which songs seem to flow better next to each other, and that will create a flow that will make the listening a better experience for the final purchaser.
I never realized how important that step can actually be. I remember listening to albums, when I was a teenager, be it the Commodores or Earth, Wind & Fire, whoever, when Barry White was good for this, and they would do things like, in the mastering process, I'm assuming, yeah, definitely.
Has to be.
Yeah, they would do things like put all of the, certain albums, they put all of the ballads on one side, or they put all the dance stuff on another side. So they have one song, one side that was all dance, to be up on the floor dancing all night long if you wanted to, and then one side for slow jams. They would do stuff like that, or they put the hot tune, what they thought was the hot tune, as the first song on the album back in those days. So song selection and song placement are important things, and those are processes that happen at the mastering studio, at the mastering point.
But not only that's true, but not only can you view things with that in mind, but you can mess around with it. And digital equipment allows you to change the sequence very easily, so that you can try different combinations and see what works together. Also, what I do in mastering, some people shortcut the process and they put 2 seconds between each song, but I find that the flow of the music is definitely affected by the spacing between the tracks. And some tracks might go better if they're cross-faded one over another. Some might go better if there's 4 or 5 seconds between, to create a new mood when the second song comes up. And there's like an infinite number of variations between. So that's something that we can work on in mastering, and find good combinations between songs so that it works well. Also, when you're preparing, don't normalize. Don't run the level all the way up to digital 0. Give me 2 or 3 dB of headroom, because my EQ will accommodate that space in the levels, and I will be able to create a master that is unstressed sounding. It'll sound smooth and pleasant rather than hard and harsh. And if you max it out before you get to me, that doesn't give me quite as much room to work with. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do to prepare it. Document, mess around with sequence till you find something that's pleasing to you. Don't cut off the heads and tails of the songs. Leave a little bit, a couple of seconds at the beginning, and wait till the fade goes all the way out organically at the end of a song. I can do a much better job of controlling intros and fades probably than you can in the recording studio. And that kind of thing is something that really helps a project along.
So those are all really good ideas as to what artists should be doing post your mix, but pre-mastering.
In preparation.
Those things that we should actually be doing. This has been good. I think Don has given us some really good information and has taken some of the mystery out of mastering for those of us who don't really understand the process or really didn't know the process. I think we have a better understanding of it now. But while I have you here, as you know, Music Talks is all about business and musical entrepreneurship. And Don is now working from his home, mastering from his home, where he used to work at some of the bigger studios, some of the bigger mastering houses. He's now given that up, and he's here. So let me ask you some questions. You know, what made you make the shift from being out there among, you know, all the other companies and working for somebody else to just coming in here? You know, what made you do it?
Well, actually, it was sort of an assessment of where the market is going these days. I think big labels are more or less a thing of the past, and there's so much good music out there that people are putting out independently. And I wanted to be able to service that market and do it at a competitive price and bring high quality to a level that people could afford. And let me just say that I think mastering is just fun. I mean, it's just the greatest thing to do.
Right.
I absolutely love the look on people's faces, and it happens so many times when they can hear things in the final product that they had no idea were even on the mix.
Yeah.
And it brings stuff out, and it brings it to life, and it makes it really vibrant.
Yeah.
And makes it pop. When I was working at Frankfurt Wayne or Europa Disc or Master Disc, where I put in many years, this kind of thing was to be expected, but it was mostly for major label stuff.
Right.
But now I can bring the same kind of satisfaction to a client who walks in and is just working on their own project.
Yeah. What do you feel are some of the there's always pros and cons and everything. Those are some of the pros. Those are some of the good sides of being in business for yourself now. What's some of the downsides? What's some of the not so good stuff?
Well, you know, it's my own business now, and whereas I used to have maintenance engineers, I used to have studio managers who would do all the booking for me, handle all the paperwork, take care of equipment, do all the myriad of things that are not necessarily directly involved with getting the product out. Now I've got to do all that stuff.
You're doing it
I do my own marketing, I do my own mastering, I do my own advertising, research, contacting clients, booking sessions, and everything is all on my plate.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, proof in the pudding. You know, Don and I met because you were doing your marketing.
Yes.
And you came across my studio, I believe,
right.
Full Range.
Right.
And you called me. You know, and that's just it's just more proof in the pudding. You know, it's not only what's happening in the industry now. It's not only the artist. You know, it's the engineers, it's the mastering guys, it's everybody. You know, is now looking at it from an entrepreneurial point of view because that's where it's going. But at the same time, we're all doing the same thing. So artists are doing their own marketing. You're doing your own marketing. They're booking their gigs. You're booking your sessions. You know, this is the way it's going. And you know, I think it's wonderful. I think it's really good. And people like you are doing good things. I like it.
Well, thank you. I think that in the same way that large record labels are sort of becoming dinosaurs, I think large studios are becoming dinosaurs in a similar fashion. And whereas if you want to thrive in this market, I think the best thing to do is not to fight it, but to go with it and make use of all the current tools and availabilities that there are out there to contact people.
The resources.
And, that weren't available before. So I think it's a basically very healthy situation.
Yeah.
And you know, one that I'm looking forward to developing. And I mean, I've only been doing this here at home for 6 months.
Wow.
You know, but I've done hundreds of projects in that time, and people are really happy with it, and it makes me glad and makes me feel like I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's good. Well, I think that's a wrap for today. I couldn't have thought of a better way to spend a rainy day. We have a skylight here that you can't really see, but it's raining like really heavy outside, and this is a great way to spend it. We got it. We got the rain. But I think it's a really good way, you know, to spend an afternoon just sitting in and discussing mastering with a professional who has mastered some at this point legendary artists like Run DMC. You know, so I believe that it's in every artist's best interest to master your project, to master your music, to get it to sound the best that it can be, and to also be able to compete with other indie artists out there who understand the process and they do it. And also on top of that, the major artists who get it done because that's required. It's a default requirement of record labels. So give thought to it, do it, give Don a call.
Yep. Let me just put in a plug. You can contact me through my website, which is www.dongrossinger.com, and I encourage people to call me. I'd be more than happy to do a sample of my work for them on their particular project, so each individual artist can see the benefit that will accrue from coming in and working with me. And you got to know that everything is done personally. The buck stops here. This is where the rubber hits the road, and everything gets done right.
End of story.
And end of story.
All right.
I look forward to speaking to you guys.
This is David Knight, Music Talks. We're out. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you.